started with our second portion of our lightning talks. So of course, a lightning break with our lightning talks. So our second portion kicks off with AI for course design support. So we talked about AI for course content development. We've spoken about AI to help us support our students. Now we're going to dive into AI for course design support. And our first three Lightning Talk presenters are Darlene Schaefer, who is an instructional designer with North Carolina Virtual Public Schools. We have Paige Durham, who is an instructional designer from Germanna Community College. And we also have Bridget Brooks, who is an instructional designer with the University of North Dakota. So at this time, I welcome Darlene to come to the stage and share with us how she is utilizing AI for course design support.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Darlene, and I am following up my wonderful colleague, Gitanjali Sani, who talked to you a little bit about how we use AI to support learners. I'm going to focus more on the course design side, as Dr. Brooks had mentioned, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program to extend from what Gitanjali Sani said. As she mentioned, we are a supplemental virtual school for the state of North Carolina. So we service public school units, private charter homeschools throughout the state of North Carolina. And as a North Carolina program, we are required to follow the state standards of North Carolina. So every 5 years, the core subjects go through a cycle of review. And so what that means is every 5 years, we can anticipate new science standards, new math, new English. This year, we're working through world language. So we're a small and formidable curriculum staff with 5 full-time staff members. We do have some contractors, but maintaining a catalog of almost 165 middle and high school courses can be very taxing for our organization. And so we looked into how can we leverage AI and really use this as an exploratory process to get some, guidelines and some suggestions of what we can do for our program. And so we started with a middle school elective. This was a course that we had not developed or revised for quite some time, and it was focused on middle school success skills. And the original curriculum aligned with the old ISTE standards, and it hadn't really been calibrated and really fully aligned since then. So we saw using AI as an experimental opportunity to really bring up the success skills course so it was more relevant for a 2020 audience. So I'm going to talk very briefly about how we leveraged AI before, during, and after the course development process. So this is Quinn, little robot, and we have him in our middle school courses. What we determined a few years ago as we were building out the middle school core is we really need to make the course content more relevant, particularly that orientation, that getting started unit for middle school students. For many students, even though they have been through the pandemic, this is the first time they're really working independently in asynchronous content. So we worked with a vendor to come up with a storyline with Quinn, and he went through and essentially did this little scavenger hunt to be able to identify the key points of the course. But we wanted to put him into the narrative. So we used Quinn, and we also used several frameworks. So again, I mentioned we had the old ISTE standards, but our state has since adopted Portrait of a Graduate, which are career and college-ready skills. We also have our own digital teaching and learning standards, as well as the CASEL SEL framework. And so we went through several rounds of prompting with ChatGPT in order to come up with a new course outline that included those specific frameworks. Because again, we wanted to make it more relevant for a modern audience. And the course is an elective, so it doesn't have to align to any state standards. That's not a requirement. But we did want to bring in some of those frameworks because we felt those were relevant to student success. So we used it to help us with an outline that would guide the development process, and then to write out the course objectives, the module and lesson level objectives, and then to make them student friendly as well. So during the process, We used AI to help us leverage course design. So very similar to what a lot of the other individuals have been saying. Again, we used it to help with writing out some of the content. So as we identified those standards and objectives, we thought about, okay, what are the relevant key terms that go along with these objectives? And AI was really helpful to help us write key terminology that was relevant for a 6th through 8th grade audience, like words like procrastination, time management, that were relevant for 12 to 14-year-old students. We also wanted to, come up with some instructional material ideas, like how can we, again, take that, success skills, which are relevant for any individual, any professional, and make it relevant for that 6th grade through 8th grade target audience. We also wanted to take Quinn, and there's, the storyline with Carmen the Cardinal, the school mascot, and we wanted to be able to add some narrative in order to make it relevant again for our student audience. And then we could use it also to help prompt for activities and assessments, and then prompt for rubrics. Somebody had talked about that, and we really enjoyed it for coming up with some rubrics that align with the assignments, to also include some feedback for some of the assignments, since that's part of our instructional model, is that students receive immediate feedback. And then we also use generative AI, for example, Adobe Express, to help us with some visual and multimedia elements. So we had a lot of these assets of Quinn and Carmen, and we used Quinn and Carmen, and we were able to use generative AI to kind of put them in different settings and different backdrops. So that was a way, again, to personalize it for that 6th through 8th grade audience. And so now we have offered the course, pretty much for this first full semester. We received very positive feedback from the teachers, but in any first run experience or the first time you're teaching it, you get some, new evidence about, okay, let's take this now that we've worked through a process, how can we better refine it? So the teachers have mentioned, for example, they would like rubrics that are, a little bit easier for the middle school student audience to follow. So we're going to take AI and help us with revising all of that. For those of you that have, followed the news, North Carolina suffered a pretty extensive storm this past fall. And so several of our schools are still in the process of returning. And so our teachers are charged with writing revised pacing guides for students. But we still want to make sure that they can meet the standards. We still want to make sure that their needs are met in the course. So we're working with our teachers to possibly leverage AI to help with adjusting the pacing. And then also, we can use it to provide remediation and enrichment. This course is offered not only in a semester, but also in a full year. And we're hearing that feedback from teachers that it might be a little too much content for a semester for 6th through 8th grade, but we may not have enough to stretch it for the year. So again, if we want to have those enrichment or those remediation opportunities, AI can help service us in that regard. So thank you for listening. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our experience. And, as we continue to evolve, we're starting to document the process so we can have some training materials to support our teachers, not only with elective writing, but taking their own content, even if it aligns with state standards, and leveraging AI to support that process. So thanks again.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Paige Durham. I'm the Senior Instructional Designer at Germanna Community College in Virginia. And I'm going to talk to you today about a digital literacy quest to become a hero. This is a gamified Canvas course that I created in 3 modules. And so I want to introduce you so that you can see how students could become a hero, which is an epic thing that we would all like for them to be. So it's about making tough choices. And now, hit it again. Oh, there we go. So let's talk about the main quest. It's talking about building confidence in AI. So you don't need a cape, but we will equip the students with practical skills so that they understand AI like a pro. If you want a copy of these slides, you can use the bit.ly, and the rest of it is capital A, capital I, capital H, E-R-O, and that's lowercase, and then capital QM. That'll get you the slides, and there's a video that walks through the Canvas course at the end. It's 7 minutes, but I'm only up here for 5, and I'm not going to go over. So, so that's the first module, is talking about getting students into AI, how to use it, what is it, what kind of things does it do, what does it mean? And so by the end of the quest, they just won't know about AI, but they'll also know how to use it appropriately. So now let's tackle the dragon in the room, which is ethical navigation. So AI can be a wild beast if it is left unchecked. However, students can learn to harness it properly and use it with integrity. So it's a roadmap, and it guides them through some ethical dilemmas. There is an escape room that I built ingenially that they have to go through in order to get out, and each room is a different ethical concept. If they get it wrong, they have to go back to the beginning, and they have to try to figure it all out. I used AI to build the entire course. There's a story that goes along with it. There are 3 characters. There's Dr. Athena, Zara, and the bad guy, Talon, because we have to have a bad guy. And he's the one who causes all of the problems. And I made it a city, and it's a whole story. So but everything in there is real world scenarios, so that they have to practice those decisions. There are Canvas quizzes that are new quizzes, and those new quizzes have many different kinds of formats. So some of them are matching, some of them are hotspots. So they're all different kinds of things built in, and I won't say all of it, but most of it uses Canvas native things like pages. I will say that every module has a requirement that they must meet in order to move to the next module, and that requirement earns them a badge, and at the end they would end up with a "You're a Hero" badge. And I even put in an Easter egg so that if they find it, but if they click on it, they just get rickrolled. But I thought that was funny. So that's just me. So why is this important? It's important not just for instructors, but the institution, because it will reduce plagiarism. It will also boost the appropriate use of AI, and it enhances student satisfaction, and because it's done in a gaming format. It's all a game. The whole thing from the beginning to the end is a game. So it has storytelling. There are hands-on challenges, there's Jeopardy, there's a matching, there's a quizzes matching, there's the Genially, there's a hotspot timeline, there are infographics. So it's many, many different things, and not just here's why you shouldn't use AI to do this, and this is. I didn't want to do that. I wanted them to play with it and understand and accept that failure is the correct option if they don't know it, because failure is the best teacher. I'm a huge gamer, and I know some of you already know I'm getting ready to transition into a government job where I will be building and designing games for the government, and I'm looking forward to playing every day. So I really feel like gamers can teach us a lot, and one of those things is that failure is okay, but the continue to get to the end is the part I want to figure out. How can we do that with other things? So gamification is one way to do that. So this is a video of the quest. Again, if you want a copy of the Canvas course, or you want to see the Canvas course, please just reach out to me. The Canvas course right now is not complete. This was done as a prototype. So it is prototyped right now. The Academic Center for Excellence, which is our tutoring department, is actually going to take over and finish it, because I'm leaving at the end of this month. So I would be glad to give it to you. It is not finalized by any stretch of the imagination, but it does give you the story, it gives you the script, and gives you all of the ideas and how you can incorporate those things. So if you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. And the bit.ly for that, one more time, is bit, bit.ly, and then capital AIH, those are all capital letters, and then ERO is lowercase, and then capital QM, all run together. Did that work? I'll try. I'll say it one more time if I need to, because it's not on the slide. But I made it a bit.ly last night, so. AI Hero QM, except ERO is all lowercase. All right, thank you very much.
piecework. Yes. All right. Hi, I am Dr. Bridget Brooks, and I'm here to tell you the story of Ann Kelsch, Anna Kinney, and Zanib Youssef. What they did was in 2022, when ChatGPT came out, the AI for course design support, the University of North Dakota established an AI assignment repository. It's also in our scholarly commons, and I have the links to those so that you guys can all have them as well. So in order to be included in the repository, faculty engaged in an extended workshop where they created assignments to assess student learning around generative AI. Faculty used the TILT for transparency to structure their assignments and then utilize the peer review process that was designed by the NILO and ILO charrette process. And I will talk about that in a minute. So faculty also have analytics, access to analytics. How many people have downloaded their assignments on the repository? And it's a pretty big repository right now, so they've been building this. When in 2022, we had the big, what is generative AI going to do in our classrooms? And there was a lot of fear around that, a lot of questions. So Anna Kinney really delved deep into what ChatGPT could do. And that started with research and learning, and then sharing ideas and having conversations on campus. And she said she would get into a rabbit hole and just kind of keep going and hours upon hours in the day. So building our AI resources, these links hopefully will work for you guys if you take the slides. We have assignments. We also have our UND guidelines that have been set up and our resources. So UND faculty created the materials in the context of ChatGPT and other generative AI immediate impact on higher education. Faculty submitted their assignments, and within the workshop, they had the goal of advancing student learning with AI. So they were going to learn about the AI, create an assignment, and then they completed a peer review method via charrettes. So for 5 minutes, they introduced their assignments, and then they were given the assignments. Faculty talked amongst themselves at the table for about 15 minutes, and then they provided the peer review and their comments, and then faculty revised their assignments to bit. And again, all assignments are designed to advance student learning in the context of the new information environment. So the transparency in learning and teaching was the TILT project. It promoted students' conscious understanding of how they learned. They were gathering, sharing, and promptly benefited from these assignments. There's also coordinated efforts by the disciplines, the institutions, and the countries. So the National Institute for Learning Outcomes Assessment, this is where they came in with the charrettes. So they had teams of 5. They had an assignment introduction for 5 minutes, and then a discussion for 15 minutes, and then feedback was provided for 5 minutes. So these faculty members that started this came in with that bravery of sharing their assignments that they had just created to use with AI, and then took that feedback and revamped their assignments. Again, we do have an extensive list of assignments in Scholarly Commons. If you guys are interested in taking a look at those, please do, because they're out there for all of us to use. All right, thank you.
Thank you for all of those wonderful ideas for how we can use AI for course design support. Right now, we're going to have 2 colleagues come to the stage to share with us information about how to now use AI for course delivery. So how can we utilize AI to support us in making sure that we are translating our content into those valuable learning experiences for our various students? First, coming to the stage, we have Carolyn Stoll, who is the Director of Online Instruction at the University of Cincinnati, followed by Krista Galyen, who is the Senior Vice President of Learner Experience Design with iDesign. Thank you.
Oh, the green button. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Hi, good morning, everybody. Let me get my slides going here. So I'm going to talk today about my experience using generative AI to provide feedback to my students. So the title is Why Grade Using AI, and you might be thinking that should say why you shouldn't grade using AI. But what I've found is that it's not so much the grading. You don't outsource the grading to the generative AI tool. What you do is you let it help you create feedback for your students, rich, robust, detailed feedback. So I know this is a little controversial, so if you just bear with me, my goal here today is not to convince you to do this, but just to share with you my experiences and some ways that you can do this effectively and safely and really improve your workflow and free up your time to do other things with students, like work with them one-on-one on their work. So I'm a writing teacher. I teach a scientific writing course for our College of Pharmacy. And so just to kind of go ahead and get into it, there's some principles that are important to keep in mind when you're going to use AI to generate feedback for your students. And the first is, to use data protected tools. So we actually have Copilot integrated into our systems on the University of Cincinnati, which is behind our firewall. I have used that, but frankly, I found that the feedback it provides is not it's not really as good at analyzing the student work and providing the feedback that I want. So I've started using ChatGPT. I use the paid version of ChatGPT, but I set the data protection tools so that it does not use the information I'm feeding it to train its model. I delete the chats afterwards. I scrub the student submissions so that it's anonymized and there's no identifying data in there. So that's first and foremost really important to try to protect student data. It's a complement. It's not a replacement. So really I'm not grading. I'm letting ChatGPT read because it's much faster at reading than I am, and generate starter text for feedback, which it can also do much quicker than I can. But it doesn't replace me. I'm still doing the grading. I'm still doing the evaluation. I'm still making the judgments. So it's a supplement, not a replacement. It's important to be transparent with students. I tell my students that I do this, and I give them the opportunity to opt out if they would prefer I not do that. So that's real important to be upfront with students that you're going to use AI. I make it part of my AI policy. Here's how you can use AI. Here's how I'm going to use AI. And then, if they have an issue, then they can opt out. It's important to regularly audit what you're getting from the AI tool. It's amazing. One of the things that I try to teach my students is to write in the active voice as opposed to the passive voice. Do I have my English teachers out here know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I'm blown away by how frequently the AI tools can't distinguish between a passively written sentence and an actively written sentence. That's like, I can spot that a mile away and it can't figure it out. So you have to be careful to audit these tools, keep an eye on them, make sure that they're looking at the work that they're evaluating accurately. And then monitor and adjust what the tool is giving you. If it's helping you to provide feedback to your students, if it's helping you to provide your students an opportunity to be successful, then use it. It's better with some assignments than with others. I don't ever use the AI tools for large summative assignments, like for their final writing project. That's all me. But for shorter, less intensive, less nuanced kinds of writing, then I will use it. Someone is calling me. I don't know who it is, and they can call me later. I expected it to be my husband. This would be exactly the time my husband would decide to call me. His timing is impeccable. 40 years, his timing is impeccable. But you have to monitor and consider which assignments you're going to use. So I typically use it a lot for like style assignments. And one I'm going to show you is a paraphrasing assignment. It works pretty well for that. But larger like I said, more nuanced writing assignments, it just doesn't do as well for that. So let me show you an example of a prompt and feedback that I got from ChatGPT just to show you how I did this. So the prompt is up at the top, and we've heard a lot about prompts today. My advice is, if regardless of what you're using the AI tool for, if you give it a persona, tell it who it is supposed to be, as well as the task it's supposed to perform, you get much better output. So in this case, I told it that it was an instructor in a scientific writing class, and it's grading the following assignment, and I gave it the assignment details. And then you can see it ask me, could you share the assignment details? It's like, I just did, but okay, I can do it again. Sometimes it will ask for a rubric or specific criteria. That usually helps. So I'm also really, and this is another tip that I found, if you ask the AI what questions it has before it starts whatever task you're asking it to do, it will ask you what it needs. And usually that speeds up the prompt evolution a little bit, so you get what you're trying to get from it. So I gave it the assignment, gave it the details that it wanted, and then this is the sample feedback that it provided. So in this assignment, they were supposed to take text from any scientific article of interest and then paraphrase it. So again, my English teachers out there, you know that paraphrasing is more than just changing the words. It's really taking an idea of your own and supporting it with information from an outside source, not just switching the words around. So ChatGPT doesn't really get that, but it is very good at picking up at copied text. So in this example, it quickly pulled out text from the original that the student had used and not really made it their own. It was not being used to support a point. It was just, they were kind of working around, changing some words but not others, and it quickly pulled that out. So, so I can use that as part of my feedback. I can pull those examples out as part of my feedback. It also noted that the student wasn't using quotation marks. Now see, this is where in scientific writing, you very rarely use quotes at all. So the ChatGPT is right, it's not using quotation marks, but they shouldn't be quoting at all. So, but I can use that as part of my feedback. And then it gave me a sample revision, and this is really where the gold is, because it would take me a long time to take text that I've never seen before and paraphrase it myself. But ChatGPT did it right there. So I was able to give the student feedback on not using as much original text, to really focus on supporting an idea with their own text and paraphrasing the information from the outside source, and then give them an example revision to help guide them. So, and this happened much more quickly than it would have if I were doing it on my own. So a few takeaways, just things to remember. There are benefits to doing this. I feel like it's increased efficiency if you choose the right assignment. It's not right for every assignment. You kind of have to trial and error to see which assignments it's better for than others. But if you choose the right assignment and you kind of play with it and get good at it, it can increase the efficiency, which allows more time for better interaction with students. So I can take feedback that ChatGPT has given me, meet with the student, and then talk with them about their writing, which is really where the magic happens if you're teaching writing, when you have one-on-one conversations with students. It is more consistent and objective. ChatGPT doesn't get tired after it's graded 50 different assignments. It's not annoyed with that student. It takes that out, and particularly if you give it a rubric it's it's pretty good at matching up what it sees against that rubric. So the more details you can give it about what it's looking for, the more consistent and objective it can be. And as I said, it frees up time, takes that time away. As a writing teacher, grading is a huge workload. So it takes some of that time and allows me to use it more effectively working with students. But it's important to make good choices, try different tools. Claude is also a good tool, and actually for data purposes is probably a little safer. But make sure that you're protecting students' privacy. So, if I don't just upload documents from them, I copy and paste their text, anonymize it, make sure it's not identifiable, and be transparent with students that you're doing this. And never, ever just copy and paste the AI feedback. You're the instructor. This is a complement. This is an assistant. It's a tool. It's not a replacement. So To that end, it's important to monitor the output to make sure that it's giving the feedback that you want to give, and that you're giving it feedback to train it. So what I found is the first couple of assignments, I gotta kind of tweak it, kind of give it some feedback, and then after a while it kind of gets on a roll and gets going. But another thing it can do too is that sometimes it can drift. So after 10 or 12 assignments, it starts to lose the thread of what it's looking for, and I might have to go back and kind of, okay, remember you're looking for this, you're looking for that, and then it kind of gets back on track. It's a weird phenomenon. I'm not sure why it happens. Anyway, those are my thoughts today. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Got this here. So we have heard a lot today about, or this week, about quality online courses with use of AI and efficiency. But what we haven't really talked a lot about is how to use AI to design high quality, cohesive programs. So I'm Krista Galyen, Senior VP of LX Design at iDesign, where we specialize in building high quality online and blended programs for partners. So AI can transform online program design with what we call structured flexibility at scale. And let me break that down a little bit for you. So structure is really the control, the consistency, the frameworks. It's the intentionality that you bring to what you envision for your program. That's the structure. And the flexibility is what allows the creative choices for those course level nuances. Who are your students? What's the subject matter? What is the faculty and how do they like to teach? So behind me is an early prototype of an app that we've built called Build. So it's an instructional design tool with an AI assistant and automation that understands your program level design. So in the background, it's dynamically building AI prompts that are increasingly, as you move through your course, context aware of your program, aware of your course. So this enables you to design within your program framework, which enhances the program quality and the effectiveness. AI-guided mapping with automation simplifies those tedious tasks like documenting alignment. So how many of you have copied and pasted learning objectives over and over and over again, I'm seeing hands and nods, yes, tedious, but necessary, right? Build creates dynamic matrices for mapping, handling complex standards like the AACN New Essentials, like never needing to copy and paste again. So Build's assistant can provide these suggested alignments with reasoning and the confidence levels ready for your expert discernment to accept, reject, refine, add. So you remain the expert and Build handles the legwork. For AI-supported design strategies, these ensure courses are crafted with a course design strategy that is in line with your program level strategy. So we all come to designs with a certain idea in mind, the learning design strategy. So for example, a program might be really intentional about use of PBL with unfolding case studies, for example. So Build's AI synthesizes the instructional elements to match your program. So it will help you to devise recommendations for your course level design strategy, but you make the creative decisions and refinements, and it helps you maintain that program level consistency. When we're thinking about streamlining creativity with AI, we have a repository of reusable design objects that puts the activity structures that are expertly designed and vetted right at your fingertips. So you can quickly grab those, what we're calling RDOs, reusable design objects. So for example, case studies, discussions, learning resources, they all adapt to your course and your program goals as you're moving through the course. So you customize a prompt, you preview the simple HTML live, so it's fast, effective, consistent, and in line with your course and your program context, and increasingly aware as you're building that course content. So, all in all, structured flexibility, AI, our expertise on the back end in helping to create that prompt, and your expertise at the center is the foundation of what we see as an ethical and efficient design system. So in this instance, what you're seeing, using API calls, you'll see build sending finalized activity into a Canvas LMS page. So it's leveraging the sub-account CSS to automatically load what you see as icons into headings for instance styles. So it enhances your creative control, but you remove that administrative burden. That's, again, that efficiency of structured flexibility in mind. So I would love to continue the conversation. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn if you're interested in learning more. I'd love to have a conversation with you more about what we're doing at iDesign. Thank you.
How wonderful to see the different ways in which we can include AI to help us with our decisions around course delivery. I've already been over here taking notes because I want to see how, if any of you are very well aware of research courses and statistics courses, they require a lot of feedback. And it's helpful to be able to know that I can utilize this tool to promote those regular opportunities for engaging with my students, providing them that meaningful and substantive feedback without having to pull all-nighters to make it happen. So I'm super excited to delve more deeply into this. Thank you so much for sharing those. Our final group of Lightning Talk presenters will share with us an area that's near and dear to my heart, how we can use AI for quality assurance and reviews. So at this time, I would like to welcome our colleagues, Rudy Lopez, who is an instructional designer team lead with Alamo College's district, as well as Leota O'Malley, who is an online course quality specialist at the University of Florida.
Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Rudy Lopez. Thanks for being here today, staying until the very end. A little context before I start. My name is, I already told you my name. I'm with the Alamo Colleges District, and we are comprised of 5 independently accredited colleges in San Antonio, Texas. And while we're independently accredited, we all do share one mission, which is empowering our diverse community for success. Now, across our district, we have about 1,000 faculty members who are teaching at least one online course. And that really is a substantial community that we're supporting. And our goal is to ensure that each online course experience meets the highest quality standards. So today I'm going to share how we're enhancing our quality assurance in our online course design by using a combination of AI technology, some innovative processes, and faculty collaboration. Let's see how I do this. All right. So why are we using AI? And specifically, why is my team using AI? So every year we have an influx of new faculty who are coming in, or maybe some faculty who are teaching face-to-face, who will be teaching online. And these faculty are required to complete an online training certification. Over the last 2 years, we've seen an increase, and this year alone, we've had about 100 faculty who need to go through this certification process. And during this certification process, our faculty are required to build course maps. So our objective in creating an AI assistant is simple but powerful, right? We're leveraging AI to streamline the review process for course maps, and more importantly, focusing on measurable objectives and alignment with design standards. So we know having a clear, measurable learning objectives is vital for student success, and this tool empowers our instructional designers and faculty to verify course design. So we ensure that all the elements are purposefully aligned and student-centered. So ultimately, this initiative aims to enhance the student learning experience across the district and to really sustain and maintain our quality assurance efforts across the district as well. So our project timeline. I say here that it's an ongoing pilot, but I do want to mention that it's currently piloted internally with my ID team and a couple of faculty that we know that are helping us with some of the elements that we're going to use that we do use in our assistant. Let's see. So we started this in early 2024 with the goal of strengthening quality assurance. And we see this as a strategic enhancement for our quality initiatives. And by bringing AI into our toolkit, we're enabling our team and faculty to catch misalignment early rather than after the course is over, where we have our end of course evaluations, or after issues impact our students. So some of the key features, our customized AI assistant focuses on two main functions. Like I said, it assesses course objectives for measurability and clarity and checks that objectives align with learning outcomes and design standards. And we built this tool using the design standards 2.1, 2.2, 3.1, 4.1, 5.1, and 6.1. So one of the strengths that we found of this tool is adaptability. It can be continuously refined based on real-time feedback from our IDs and faculty. And we think we're creating a pretty dynamic resource that will grow as we learn about the needs of those that we serve. And with this AI assistant, we're making it easier for faculty to create courses that are clear and focused for our students, and also helping everyone involved, all of our stakeholders, work smarter, not harder. There we go. So some of the initial results are, like I said, this is internal, so we haven't piloted this externally to our faculty or other instructional designers until fall 2025. But so far, what we've seen in testing the AI assistant and changing it constantly when things work and don't work, we've seen that it's improved our efficiency for reviewing those course maps. And what it is really, we entered those elements, those standards in our build. And what happens is we just ask it to look for alignment, to make sure that the objectives are measurable, and to also offer some examples of how we can align misaligned elements within a course map. So this has saved lots of time. We think faculty and instructional designers will see enhanced clarity in their course designs and course builds. And what that's going to do is translate to a more structured and coherent learning experiences for our students. And the internal feedback, again, has been pretty positive. It's usability, and it's pretty intuitive. It's very simple. We have a course map, and what we do is drag that and drop it into our AI, or ChatGPT, and immediately will give us feedback about, yes, this objective is aligned, or maybe, no, this is not really aligned or not too specific. Maybe you can try this. Same thing with the alignment issue. If the assistant finds an issue with alignment in regards to an assessment or an assignment or a task against an objective, it'll let me know that, and it'll also give me an example of how to improve that or correct it. So moving forward, let me see if I shouldn't have done that, but moving forward, we're planning to pilot this in 2025. Once we kind of get it to where we're able to share it properly, to ensure that not only what that we're sharing is useful and meaningful to our faculty, but that there aren't any bugs or too many bugs right now. We're also going to be collecting feedback from faculty and other instructional designers across the district to see how we can improve the tool for increased focus on our QA initiatives across the district. So I think I'm under 5 minutes, and thank you very much. Yeah.
Might need a little help here. There we go. First of all, thank you so much for staying for the last person talking, because I know you're probably anxious to get to your sessions. I wanted to share a little bit about our journey in our approach to analyzing reviewer feedback for future professional development and supporting our reviewers. If you attended our session yesterday, this is something that came off of that particular data analysis. In that conversation where we were trying to find out what particular QM standards were being missed most frequently, as well as our own internal standards, I should probably mention that we have a mostly in-house review for our courses where it is built upon the QM rubric for course design, and we have added 3 general standards to address best practices in instructional delivery for our online course faculty. We refer to those as our UF standards. As we were going through this information, pulling sample data from 6th edition QM rubric, we realized we were missing a target, an opportunity, if you will, on how to better support our reviewer teams as they're going through the process in the QA process with us. And so we came up with 2 goals to help us make a better data-informed decision for future professional development needs, specifically for our reviewers. We wanted to identify the tone in the reviewer feedback, and we also wanted to take a look at common themes that we were seeing in the reviewer feedback. This was all based, of course, on the building blocks of specific, balanced, constructive, measurable, and sensitive feedback from our reviewers. So the we is a team of 2, my supervisor, Nikki Lyons, and myself. As far as time, well, it's actually an ongoing process right now. We started with the human component, and since this was a very small sample size of feedback, it probably took us each about 10 to 12 hours to code for ourselves initially before we turned to our very good friends, generative AI, to see how it could help us be more efficient in the process. And so, what tools did we use? There we go. We are very fortunate at the University of Florida that UF has developed what I'd like to think of as a closed system called Navigator Chat. It was just renamed, where we have access as faculty, administration, staff, and students to a variety of large language models, but we are not training those large language models outside of UF. And we do realize, I promise, that that is a privilege that we have. And so it safeguards the information, but we still are very, very careful about what we're feeding into them. Based on recommendation from a colleague, we decided to use ChatGPT 4.0 and Llama 3.17db. And I know what you're looking for right now is probably the prompt that I used, but we only had 5 slides. So I thought I would share what we learned and let you know that on the last slide, the next slide, there is a QR code where you can actually take a look at a PDF file of the prompting that I used, as well as the slide deck. So what we learned is, without realizing it, the human part of it was we were categorizing intuitively based on our experience, our knowledge, the conversation we were having professionally, both with our reviewers, each other, and our instructors. But our 2 Gen AI tools didn't have that particular experience.
And we realized that we quickly had a preference to ChatGPT 4.0, simply because although based on the prompting, both categorize the data in tables, and both also provided evidence, ChatGPT 4.0 intuitively, without me asking, actually put evidence from the feedback as it was categorizing in the tables, and that was very helpful. We also found that ChatGPT 4.0 gave a far better detailed summary with the reviewer feedback. And in terms of accuracy, it was much closer to the coding that Nikki and I were working on together as well. In terms of tone, ChatGPT completely blew Llama out of the water on that particular issue. And so my future step with that would be trying Microsoft Copilot, another good friend of ours that we turn to on a regular basis, to see if it will be any more accurate, and of course, tweaking the prompting. So what did we learn? Well, we learned we need to continue analyzing feedback, and I think we're getting to the point where we're ready to start entering larger samples of data to help us teach our friends how to help us better. But what we noticed right away is that with our internal review system, we're not getting a whole bunch of balanced feedback to our instructors, what I refer to as glows and grows. And I think that's really important because we like to think of our feedback as a conversation between us as review coordinators, our instructors, and our reviewers. We also realized, and some of you may have this particular issue too, that sometimes the feedback is not quite as collegial as we prefer. Some people are very blunt. And so that is a place that we need to work on as we're supporting our reviewers. And that led to questions of, should we provide some basic sentence stems to help them get started? We need to start providing some modeling in the reviewer feedback to help them practice a little bit more. Oh my gosh, time is up. Anyway, the QR code is there. That also has our information if you want to chat with us. And again, thank you so much for staying to the end. I deeply appreciate it.